Every time Terrence Howard opens his mouth, you just know something unexpected is about to come out. But this time, he might have taken it a little too far. Because what do you mean he's claiming he had some kind of secret situation with Beyoncé? Yeah, that part. At this point, it honestly feels like Terrence has been linked to just about every wild story out there, from rumors involving Diddy to even being connected to Oprah, and now Beyoncé is somehow part of that list too? But here's where it gets even crazier. According to him, Jay-Z didn't take it lightly at all. In fact, he's hinting that things got so serious, it nearly cost him his career. And if you think that's already wild, just wait, because the full story behind this is even messier than it sounds. Now let's be real for a second. When it comes to Beyoncé, we barely know anything about her dating life. The only thing that's always been clear is her relationship with Jay-Z. And when it comes to Jay, one thing people have consistently said over the years is that he can be extremely protective, some would even say jealous, especially when it comes to Beyoncé being around other men. Which is ironic, considering all the cheating rumors that have followed him for years. There have even been claims that Beyoncé doesn't collaborate much with male artists because Jay-Z once set boundaries around that. And honestly, when you look at her career, it does make you wonder, because you rarely see her working closely with male entertainers like that. But back in 2005, there was one moment that really stood out. During Destiny's Child performance of Cater to You, Beyoncé did something that had everyone talking.
Ladies and gentlemen.
The performance itself was great, but it was Beyoncé's energy on stage that stole all the attention. She was fully in her element, completely owning the moment. And then there was Terrence Howard in the audience, looking like he didn't even know how to process what he was seeing. You could literally tell just from his reaction that Beyoncé had everyone locked in that night. But that's when people started asking questions. Why him? Out of everyone she could have chosen in that moment, why Terrence Howard? Was it just a random pick? Or was there something more going on behind the scenes, especially since Jay-Z wasn't there that night? Now that Terrence is finally sharing his version of events, he's making it sound like that moment wasn't as random as people thought. According to him, things actually go way back. In the early 2000s, when Terrence was blowing up from films like Hustle and Flow and Crash, he was everywhere, and that's when he first crossed paths with Destiny's Child. But what stood out to him the most was how Beyoncé treated him. He claims that out of everyone in the room, she seemed to connect with him differently, like there was a certain energy there that wasn't just casual. But here's where things take an unexpected turn. According to Terrence, while Beyoncé may have been showing interest back then, he didn't exactly match that energy. Instead, he went in a completely different direction and ended up getting involved with Farrah Franklin. And if you know anything about situations like this, that kind of move doesn't go unnoticed. Terrence hinted that Beyoncé might have taken that personally, or at least, didn't forget it. And looking back, he believes that iconic performance years later wasn't just entertainment, it was intentional. In his words, Beyoncé chose him for that moment for a reason. Almost like she was sending a message, showing him exactly what he walked away from.
Terrence Howard, he spoke about Beyoncé and how he almost dated her.
And the timing? That just made it even more interesting. Jay-Z wasn't there that night, which, according to Terrence, gave Beyoncé the freedom to really go all in without holding back. But what neither of them expected was how big that moment would become. The performance didn't just get attention, it exploded. Clips started circulating everywhere, people couldn't stop talking about it, and suddenly, it became the moment everyone was analyzing. So even though Jay-Z wasn't in the building, it didn't take long for him to see it. And yeah, he was not happy about it. To really understand his reaction, you have to look at how he's handled similar situations in the past. Take Sean Paul, for example. After Baby Boy dropped, people started noticing the chemistry between him and Beyoncé, and that alone was enough to create tension. There were even reports that things got so uncomfortable behind the scenes that Beyoncé and Sean Paul barely performed the song together. Some insiders claimed Jay-Z wasn't feeling the situation at all, especially after hearing that Sean had made a comment during the video shoot suggesting Beyoncé deserved someone better. To Jay, that crossed a line. And from that point on, he allegedly made sure to keep distance between them. So now imagine that same energy, but this time, it's Beyoncé on stage, giving a very intense, very personal performance, with Terrence Howard of all people. Yeah, from Jay-Z's perspective, that didn't sit right at all. Not only did he reportedly see it as disrespectful, but all the talk online about Beyoncé and Terrence having real chemistry just made things worse. At that point, it wasn't just a performance anymore, it was a situation. But here's the thing, it wasn't just Jay-Z who had a problem with the situation. According to Terrence, Beyoncé was upset too, but for completely different reasons. He claims she didn't understand why Jay was reacting so strongly over a performance, especially considering everything that had already happened in their relationship. From her perspective, it felt hypocritical. Like, how are you this mad over a moment on stage, when you've been moving a certain way behind the scenes for years? And apparently, that's when something shifted. Terrence describes it like a switch flipped, and the situation went from tension to something way more complicated. Now this is where things get even messier. Back then, there were rumors, quiet at first, but persistent, that after that performance, Beyoncé and Terrence actually got closer behind the scenes. At first, it was allegedly driven by emotion, almost like she wanted to give Jay a real reason to be upset. But over time, those rumors claimed it turned into something more serious. Something real. And according to that narrative, whatever was going on between them didn't last forever, but it lasted long enough for things to get risky, especially once Jay-Z caught wind of it. The crazy part? When these rumors first surfaced, most people brushed them off. It sounded too wild to be true. But now, years later, with Terrence speaking out and hinting that Beyoncé did have feelings for him, people are starting to look back at everything a little differently. Now yes, Beyoncé and Jay-Z eventually worked things out. We all know they went on to rebuild their relationship and even get married. But for Terrence? According to him, things didn't end nearly as smoothly. He says he expected Jay to be upset, anyone would. But what he didn't expect was how far things would go after that. Terrence claims that behind the scenes, his name started getting dragged in the industry. Opportunities slowed down. Doors started closing. And he believes it wasn't random. According to him, Jay-Z used his influence to quietly turn people against him, spreading narratives that he was difficult to work with, and making it harder for him to land roles. Now whether that's completely true or not, people online definitely have opinions. Some are even revisiting that 2005 performance, saying the chemistry felt way too real to ignore, like there was something deeper going on in that moment. Others believe it was just a performance that got blown out of proportion. Either way, this whole situation raises a bigger question. Was it all just coincidence, or was there actually something happening behind the scenes that we're only hearing about now? Let me know what you think. Was this just another exaggerated Hollywood story, or is there some truth hidden in all of this? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.